My favorite way to wake up in the morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I love that theme song and I love waking up with that idea. Woke up this morning with my mind anchored in spirit. And that's why we come to Virch on Sundays to re-anchor ourselves because we can get pulled from our mooring by the trappings of the material world throughout the week. All kinds of things going on. We're in another COVID surge in different parts of the country. Healthcare workers exhausted. If you know a healthcare worker, this is the week to reach out and give them some love. Flowers, phone call, snail mail, letter, or card. I mean, to have it in your hand and to feel the card and to see the letter, it's so much more valuable. I mean, if you got to do the text, if you've got to do the email, go for that. That works too. But if you can do something tangible to support our healthcare workers as we have put them through 8-9 months now of daily working repeatedly, and then this thing called global warming, however you want to describe the source of it, whether it's the geological calendar bringing us back into another ice age, because just before an ice age there's a warm up. But that's a tangent. I don't want to go into that one right now. But what is concerning me is the largest wetland in the world. It's the Pantanal wetland. It's in South America. It's on fire more than it's ever been before. You probably haven't even heard about it. You may not have even heard of this thing called the Pantanal. 40% of it stays underwater all the time. Migratory birds go there every year. Fish, indigenous people, plants, and cures for diseases we don't even recognize are there are being lost as thousands of acres, 22,000 separate fires spread out across this large area that's in Bolivia, Argentina, Brazil, and Paraguay, I believe. So it's in 4 or 5 countries centered in the southern part. It's as big of a sink of carbon space as the Amazon. And soil holds more carbon in its soil than anything else. That's where we can put some of the pollutants. So there's a lot for us to do our prayer work about, our own personal lives, but also as we do prayer work for the world, for our humankind, and for our dear mother planet Earth. So just some of the things we want to think about as we practice our vision and mission statement. It's not just about our own individual. We are individualized expressions of the only one thing, but we're not individuals. We're like the aspens. We're all tied at the root. And so everything that I've talked about affects all of us, whether you believe it or not. So do your prayer work for the healing of the planet. This is our vision. This is our mission. Let's say it together. Remind us of what we do, why we are here, and what we're all about. We're a community, inclusive, loving, and authentic. We celebrate all paths to God in gratitude, empowering self and others. We serve compassionately through outreach, inspiration, and education. That's who we are. That's why we're here. And here's what we do.
Good morning. I'm Dale Aarons, and I will now share with you what we do. We have a midweek spiritual pick-me-up for each week, the Wednesday night experience. This week at 7, Michelle Roberts and Dean Yasuda return with a special evening designed around you. Becoming an Appreciation Project, expanding your capacity to live from gratitude. Sounds perfect for this Thanksgiving season. Here's Dean and Michelle with more on what to expect Wednesday night.
Join us November 18th at 7 p.m. to learn about how to become an appreciation project. We often think of ourselves and others as fixer-upper projects.
Yeah, so let's turn that around. We're going to be going over a couple of tools that you can use every day in your life to open your ability, your capacity for giving and receiving appreciations. Join us. Can't wait to see you.
The meeting ID for Becoming an Appreciation Project is 821-6951-7577. And the password is presence, capital P with an exclamation point. Don't forget the exclamation point. This Wednesday, November 18th at 7 p.m. 2 exciting events are still a couple of weeks away, but I want to give you an early heads up. The annual Conejo Valley Interfaith Association Thanksgiving celebration is still happening And like so many events, it will be on Zoom. Uh-oh, guess that means you have to bake your own pie. The bagpipes begin just before 7 p.m. on Wednesday, November 25th. The previous evening, Tuesday, November 24th, the Simi Valley Interfaith Council will hold its pre-Thanksgiving service. Reverend Stephen is involved in both and invites you to mark your calendars. Back-to-back gratitude experiences, Tuesday, November 24th and Wednesday, November 25th, both at 7 p.m. Let me quickly recap our regular weekly offerings. Wednesdays at 5:30, join Debbie Jarvis for Yoga with Debbie, an hour of spiritual yoga for everyone. The meeting ID is 878-5693-8671, and the passcode is 253932. We also have Play and Learn with Dr. Susan available on our YouTube channel, CSL Simi Valley. She also streams live Sunday mornings at 9:30 on the center's website. Reverend Stephen offers a few moments of inspiration weekdays at 1 on Practicing Oneness at 1, live at 1 o'clock from his personal Facebook page. Spiritual Mind Treatment shifts lives and reveals our highest good. A prayer method developed by Dr. Ernest Holmes is offered to you by our practitioners and ministers. Reach out to them with your requests for spiritual support by visiting Center's website, look for practitioners, or call the office to leave your prayer requests. Today's service will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, CSL Simi Valley. Please let friends who missed the live broadcasts or don't use Facebook know they can check us out on YouTube or on the Center's website homepage. Welcome to all of you viewing from wherever you are. We're so grateful that you have chosen to spend the morning viewing our live stream. And we're grateful for those of you watching the replay at a later time. Now back to Reverend Stephen.
Thanks, Dale. Yeah, he mentioned the Thanksgiving. I want to go back to that for a minute because, that's a big thing that we've done. The Conejo Valley Interfaith Association is something that Dr. Jim joined many years ago, and when I got here, I joined up with them too. And since that began 5 years ago, the Simi Valley Interfaith Council reformulated, and I joined that one as well. So they're both having Thanksgivings. One's on Tuesday, one's on Wednesday. I'm going to be in both. And you know what? On Tuesday, the Soul Purpose Band, not this Tuesday, the Tuesday just before Thanksgiving. So we'll talk about it another Sunday, but I just want to go to it now because, a lot of stuff gets happening around Thanksgiving. So on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, the Soul Purpose Band is going to be singing a song in the service, and then I'll be doing a reading in the service. And the next day, that's the one for the Simi Valley Council. Then the Conejo Valley Association is doing one the next Wednesday, right? And that's the one that we go to where we eat the pie. So bake your own pie. But come on out for both of them. It'll be at 7 o'clock. It'll be Zoom. We'll have the Zoom room open a little bit early so we can do some chat. We can all get together and share in gratitude. So we haven't done a big Wednesday night in a while. Let's get as many people to come and join us, and let's get together and feel the gratitude that we have for being together in community. So we'll see you in 2 Tuesdays, 2 Wednesdays from now, Zooms back to back for Thanksgiving. I hope you will participate in that. It will be a really fun event for us all. Okay, let's go to our cleansing song, kind of open ourselves up. This release what's not serving us, open ourselves to being used by Spirit. We're not singing the Use Me song, but think about that too. Release it so that you can be use me, right? Okay, here we go with the Soul Purpose Band.
I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only thine. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God.
Good morning, Center for Spiritual Living, Simi Valley. This part of the service is called ART. They're the Science of Mind practices of affirmation, reading, and treatment or prayer. So we'll start with the affirmation, and I will say it first, and then we'll all repeat it together, okay? So the affirmation for today is, let's take a deep breath first. Let's just get settled. So you're ready to take it in. I am plugged into a power and presence that knows. I'm plugged into a power and presence that knows. And through it, I'm inspired to know what to do in creating a more just and perfect world for all. Now let's all do it together. I am plugged into a power and presence that knows. And through it, I am inspired to know what to do in creating a more just and perfect world for all. Our inspirational reading this morning comes from the Science of Mind magazine. And Javon Seeley wrote the Daily Guide. And one of the days he writes on the greatest good. So there are two quotes before his writing. One is from Khalil Gibran. And this quote says, I existed from all eternity, and behold, I am here. And I shall exist till the end of time, for my being has no end. And from Dr. Ernest Holmes, Spirit makes things out of itself through some inner act upon itself. And then Javon Seeley writes, there are endless synchronicities and a sacred alignment that allow us to be here at this moment. Endless synchronicities and a sacred alignment that allow us to be here at this moment. Endless things work for our greatest good. Reflecting back on our ancestors, we realize their lives were essential in the development of who we are in this moment. All of them empowered by Spirit. My mother's journey began in Scotland before being adopted by my grandparents who lived in Salt Lake City. I think about my Scottish ancestors and their unique journey leading up to the birth of my mother. While I will never know them, they are always with me. My father is African American. I think about my grandparents on my father's side. My grandpa born in Arkansas and my grandma in Mississippi. I can only imagine what my ancestors experienced after first being brought here to America on those dark slave ships. While being subjected to some of the harshest injustices imaginable, they retained their ancestral connection to the motherland of Africa. Their strength and roots are with me. As we look back at all that aligned with precision to bring you and me into existence, we see a golden thread running through it all. Regardless of how righteous or oppressive certain ancestors might have been, the Spirit of life graced them all, as it now does for us. There is an intricate connection that unites all. The essence of who we are has no beginning or end, for at the depths of it all, we are one. And let's take that in through treatment. Let's take another deep breath and close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so. Take another deep breath and just focus on your heart. The flame of light in your heart, knowing that there is only one presence, one divine presence, one consciousness that pervades all that there is, that has created everything out of itself and to itself. This divine presence is pure love, is beauty, is harmony. It's all knowing, it's all powerful. There is nothing but this divine presence. There's no hole we can fall through. There's no end we can fall off. It is always present in all its fullness wherever we are. So therefore, it's expressing as each and every person in this service and each and every person we have ever met, each and every creature, each and everything that is in existence. And therefore, it's also right here in the service, in all its fullness, in its glorious beauty, in its harmony, in its knowledge and its power is right here as the service itself, as all the presenters, as all who listen. And therefore, I declare that this is good. And so it is.
Hi, Simi Valley. I'm back, but I'm not physically back. Can we just finish this whole thing? Can we just move forward? I miss you guys. And but I'm happy that we're still able to connect in this way. So I got some videos for you, and I just want to tell you how grateful I am that you guys are still enjoying my music and having me here. Okay, so thanks. I brought this song when I read the affirmation from Reverend Stephen. It said, "Power in the presence," and that right away reminded me of a song that used those lyrics. And so this is a song by Jennifer Russell called Holy Ground. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for I walk in love. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Gentle, easy, gentle. Everywhere I am is holy ground. Yeah. And I live in love. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Gentle, easy, gentle. Everywhere I am is holy ground. And I stand in peace. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Gentle, easy. Gentle, easy, gentle, easy.
The power and presence of pure spirit. When we meditate, we bathe in the power and presence of pure spirit. When we take time just to be quiet and recognize our true nature, it's like we're taking an inner shower. So let's take a deep breath again. And as we're meditating for the next 3 minutes, just notice your breath going in and out. And just notice the gap that's there between the inhale and the exhale and the inhale. And just give it a little extra attention. Let's meditate.
Good morning. I'm Dale.
And take a deep breath. And slowly come out of meditation, feeling gratitude for the power and presence of the divine as the voice of Dale in the middle of meditation. Have a great service.
Hi, everybody. I'm bringing a song to you that I wrote with my friend Juliet Vorster over in the UK. She's out there. Hi, Juliet. Hi, Mary. It's a little tune called Better Me. In the morning when I awake, a fresh new start, a daybreak, the joy of one more day, a chance to work and play. And I give thanks to the universe. I no longer shout and curse for the opportunity to be a better me. And I say, said thank you, thank you, thank you. I look right at myself and say I love you, love you, love you, love you. And I'm a window for God's will to really shine through. Bless you, bless you, bless you. For the courage that it takes to be the true you. Oh, the true you. And I sit down to meditate. I say my prayer and then I wait. The word of God comes through with the work for me to do. And next I breathe and I exercise. I look for more ways to be wise. Another opportunity to be a better me. And I said thank you, thank you, thank you. I look right at myself and say I love you, love you, love you, love you. And I'm a window for God's will to really shine through. Bless you, bless you, bless you. For the courage that it takes to be the true you. Oh, the true you. And every moment through the day, I seek out ways in which to say, I am the love divine. God's universe is mine. To live in love's the way to go. It comes in fast and it goes out slow. One more opportunity to be a better me, a better me. And I said thank you, thank you, thank you. I look right at myself and say I love you, love you, love you, love you. And I'm a window for God's will to really shine through. Bless you, bless you, bless you. For the courage that it takes to be the true you. Oh, the true you. To be the true you. Yes, the true you. The true you. Thank you.
Dennis Bryan, thank you. Thank you for blessing us with your wonderful music, bringing Juliet Forster and Mary all the way from England into our service. Thanks for that as well. They're two of our practitioners and ministers that are across the pond and have done great work in England bringing the science of mind. So thank you for that and for sharing that with us. And that's a great way to remind us that we are plugged in wherever we go. We are plugged into Spirit, and that's what today's talk is about. Get plugged in, my friends. Get plugged in. And here's what I mean by that. See, first off, being plugged in means being in the know, being informed, also means being involved, being knowledgeable, being plugged in, right? I had a guy that I worked with, a guy named George Waldrop, many years ago. He was the Capitol Beat correspondent in the Texas state legislature. And this guy was so plugged in that before a bill would pass, before it was written, before something happened, some source of his would call him and tell him about it. So he was getting headlines. He was like the top, he was one of the top journalists for the legislature in Texas because he was so plugged in. He was what you call a plug. And that's what the Urban Dictionary calls it, a plug. A plug is a person who's got resources, who overcomes difficulties and can move you through into a higher space. And that's what we get to be when we plug in to Spirit. We become resources, we become knowledgeable, we become informed, and we stay involved in this thing called life. We develop a power and a presence in the world. Tapping into that power, getting plugged into that power is what today is all about. How are you plugged in to the divine power? And it's really something special to do. Being plugged into power is an amazing thing, but you have to be careful. Consciously, you have to be careful because the power doesn't particularly care what it creates. It's us that cares what we create. So how we use that power is something. I saw a video this week talk about being careful with power. This guy was hanging out of a helicopter because you know the high tension lines. The reason they call those high tension lines are way up high like that, and they're so far apart, each line so far apart, because they don't have much insulation. They're carrying strong current, but not a lot of insulation. That's why you sometimes hear crackling around it because there's electricity coming off of the lines, and sometimes the moisture in the atmosphere reacts with that, and it creates this crackling sound. You can actually hear the air moving around them. Well, back to this video. Here's a guy hanging out of a helicopter with a drill and a brace. Because of the fires, we've had so many fires, and some of them have been sparked by these power lines. Well, the power lines and the winds begin to blow, and sometimes if they blow and they get close to one another, an arcing can take place, and that's when the fire breaks out. Now, the reason these power lines can work the way they work and can be spaced out the way they are, you notice the towers are really far apart. That allows them to go long distances, but that also means those wires are hanging loose for very long times. So what they've done is a solution for this, the wires blowing in this power. I know this is a long tangent, but it just fascinated me so much. I thought I would talk about it because I was getting plugged in on this idea on how they're helping these power lines to not create fires. They put a brace on them. But how do they put the brace on? They can't take the power lines down. No. The guy flies up in a helicopter. He's tethered to the helicopter. He puts a grounding clip on one line. Then he goes out and puts this brace around the power line and then hangs out of the helicopter with a drill bit and drills it shut. So this triangular bracket is now holding the lines apart. Whoa, thrilling job. I'd rather just go to Magic Mountain and ride in the first car of the roller coaster. Whew. But for me, that was explaining power. Because the thing about power is not just having access to it, it's knowing how to use it. So when we can plug in to a power that knows, that's informed, that's involved, when we can be knowledgeable like a George Waldron and have our sources become a plug because we are overcoming difficulties in our life through using that power, then we have sounded like we're acting like God. We're moving into God's space, powerful, involved, and resourceful. The other thing about plugs that came to me when I was thinking about getting plugged in is everything has to have its just right and perfect plug. I mean, there are so many wires in front of me right now. This is the plug that gives us sound into the service today. And then here's a plug that has the monitor that's going into the back. That's got a different plug. Everything has its own right and perfect plug. What I took from that idea about everything having its right and own perfect plug, like go to Europe, they got different plugs and adapters. When you get on the plane, there's a plug for your sound that's different from the plug that's plugged into your iPad. And that came to me as like, that's us. We are individualized expressions, all plugging in from our own individualized place, but we're saying plugging into the same one power. So you might have a little DC plug, somebody else might have a European plug, somebody else might have an AC plug, somebody else might have a DC plug. That's how you work. You might have a mini jack, or you might have a 3/4 jack. You got all these different kind of plugs, right? But the point is, we're all plugging into the divine power. How are you plugging into the divine power? And particularly now, in this time, in the world in which we live, where you've got the COVID thing I was telling you about, you got the fires that are going on. We still have racial problems in our country. We have challenges in the streets with different sides. We have half the country voting on one person and half the country voting on another person. And all of this is calling us to plug into what I say, plug into love. See, there's not a lot of surrendering to the divine power right now. And it reminds me of like the Marvin Gaye album. I love that album, What's Going On. I've talked about it before. It was released in 1970. 50 years old, still just as good as it ever was. What's going on? Talk to me so you can see what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. That's the opening song. But then he dives down into something. 50 years ago, he wrote this song, Marvin Gaye, for his uncle Freddie, who had just come back from Vietnam. What's happening, brother? What's happening, brother? Say, man, I just don't understand what's going on across this land. Ah, what's happening, brother? Yeah, what's happening, my man? What's happening, brother? Do they still go out where we used to go and dance? Will our ball club win the pennant? Do you think we stand a chance? I tell you, friend, how in the world have you been? Do you ask the question, how in the world have you been? Are you plugging into love so that you can ask those kind of questions? What's happening, brother? What's going on across this land? We're not going to find out if we're not speaking the language of love. Love is what makes things right. I saw a little kid in the grocery store a couple days ago who really wanted something on the counter there that his mother was not going to give him because, as she said to him, use your words. Use your words. Sometimes we need to figure out how to use our words, particularly when so many people seem to be drinking haterade. We need to speak the love to the haters. You know, we have to stand up and respond to the divine call to live a world that works better for everyone. I've been infused lately by a guy named Reverend William Barber. He's an American Protestant minister from North Carolina. He calls himself a conservative Christian. You wouldn't know it to hear him talk about it, but here's how he describes conservative Christianity. He says he's conservative because he wants to speak the language of love, as I'm telling you. He says he doesn't want to be liberal with the word of the divine, with the word of the Spirit that says using the word to isolate and to hold and to divide and to be conquering people by separating. He says the truth of the spiritual ancient teachings, the truth of the great way shower, Jesus, who walked the land, was to embrace all people. He sat with the Samaritans. He ate with the Gentiles. He hung out with the lepers because he spoke the language of love. And we are called to plug into that language this day in our lives. We're called to plug into that. But the deal is that sometimes, though, here's what Reverend Barber says about that. He says, sometimes you will offend somebody when you speak the word of love. Sometimes you will offend somebody if you speak the word of love. But that's okay, because when you're doing that, when you're surrendering to the idea of love, you're opening up to a divine presence and power that lets you know exactly what to do. That's what our Dr. Holmes always tells us about. He says, and he's so strong in his belief. He says, I have no doubt that if we were to completely surrender ourselves to the divine presence and let it guide us, everything would be all right in our lives. If we surrender to the divine presence by speaking that word of love, even though it might offend somebody, it's okay. Because you see, as Dr. Martin Luther King would tell us, it's dangerous to hurt people. It's dangerous to hurt people. Hurt people hurt other people. But when you love people, you take away the hurt. And sometimes love talk is dangerous, but that's okay. Don't stop. And when you get afraid of talking the love talk to those that don't want to listen to you, that's when it's time to plug into faith. Plug into faith. You plug into spirit, that gives you the divine intelligence to know. You plug into love, that gives you the language to speak. You surrender to both. When things don't look right, when the love talk feels dangerous, when somebody's not listening, you plug into faith. You plug into faith, because when you step into hostile territory, you're going to need your faith to hold you strong. And that hostile territory, when you can still speak your truth of love in the space of hostile territory, you have passed the divine test. You see, when you plug into spirit, you plugged into your rock. I was reading, I believe it's Psalms 94. Powerful psalm. Talks about how spirit is your rock. And when we're looking at those that have divided, when we're looking at those that are conquering, when we're looking at those that are objectifying others, when we're looking at those that are putting somebody down, there's a divine presence that you can step into that is your rock, that will keep you strong in those moments when you're feeling weak and don't want to keep talking this talk. Yeah, it'd be so easy to come here today and give you another talk out of the first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind textbook to help you manifest your particular life better. As Dean and Michelle were saying a minute ago, we think of ourselves as fixer-uppers, but we're not fixer-uppers. What we are is we are revealers. We are revealers of a divine truth. And if your need and your call is to put food on the table, yes, use the power of right thinking to demonstrate that on your table. But I think that what's happening for many of us, if your need is for a job, use your power to manifest of consciousness to manifest the job that you need. This is absolutely true. But I think so many of us are really blessed. Those that get to watch this Virch right here, right now, the fact that you're able to watch it means that you have at least a computer, iPad, or a telephone, a smartphone. You got power. You got electrical power in your house. We have a lot. We've been given a lot, so we're called to give a lot back. Don't be afraid to keep speaking. When you speak the truth to those who don't listen, at least after that, they can't claim to not know. See, once you've been told, it's hard to turn back. You can't unhear it. You can disavow it. You can ignore it, but you can't unhear it. It lands in the soul. And when you're speaking the truth of love, it lands deep in the soul. As Dr. Barber says, I want to meet this guy. He's amazing. Maybe I can get him as a guest one time. This is what he says. He says that just because they won't listen does not give you the authority to quit. Just because they won't listen, you can't quit. You got to keep talking. Gandhi says they'll ignore you, then they'll ridicule you, then they'll fight you, and then you win. It's a journey. We're on it. What else you got to do? I mean, we're in the house. We're still locked down for most of the rest of the year. Let's find a way. Write a card to somebody. Pick up a phone call. Join an organization. Google somebody that's doing something that you feel is strong, and step into that. Step into that. And if you don't know what it is, that's the next thing to plug into. Plug in to hear. Plug in to listen. Plug in so that the ear in your chest, your heart, can hear the divine call through intuition and inner guidance to know that God is at your center, and let the power work through you. Let is a big word. It's a little letters, but it's a big word. It's sometimes hard to let it. Just let it move through you. Listen. What am I being called to do? Let me be a vehicle for your divine expression here and now. Let me be creative. Let me work through deed and my word to bring forth the end of lack and limitation, to open up to a area of multiplicity in life that breaks the monotony of what we keep hearing about. And in doing so, we can plug into diversity. We can plug into difference. And we can let nature teach us about these differences. Nature's a powerful teacher. Think about it. The apple tree, it's blooming, it's tasty apples, right? And right next to it, a rosebud blooming its beautiful roses, right? Or the cactus is doing its thing out in the desert, and the Joshua tree's right next to it, growing right next to it. They're not complaining about each other. They're not throwing hate at each other. They're not drinking haterade. They're drinking sunshine of the Spirit, and they're growing, and they're tapping down into the future, the soil. They're grounded in the soil, and they're sharing that as well. And the mountain peak, giant mountain peaks. Look at California. We have the highest mountains, some of the highest mountains, and the lowest land on earth within miles of each other. From the Sierra to the Mojave Death Valley Desert, you can go thousands of feet in distance, and you don't see those mountains trying to lower themselves and the valley trying to raise itself up. No, they're fine being their individualized selves. We can learn so much from nature. We can learn so much from listening to Spirit. We can learn so much when we plug in to love, to faith, and to the divine power. Dr. Holmes has a wonderful thought. I want to share this thought with you. This is so cool. He says that, here you go. There we go. A little slow on the button here. He says, probably, what I was just talking about, this everything coming together and working together, probably this is the real spiritual secret of democracy. That countless numbers of persons should learn how to live together while at the same time remaining themselves. You see, we're not gonna lose anything by allowing someone else to be themselves. That's the beautiful thing about it. And so that's the thing about making let such a powerful word. Letting allows us to support harmony. It allows us to support harmony. So when you think about all these different things I've intended to plug into, what came to me as I was setting up, I was looking down here, I got this power strip. It's got 6 plugs in it. And I was thinking, yeah, that's really it. We are revealers of truth. We're a power strip. We can plug into love. And through love, we have the word. We can work the word, the divine word. We can use our words. We can plug into faith. And with faith, we have tenacity and strength to move forward. We can plug into spirit and be grounded, find our foundation so we can not be wavering back and forth. I throw my seed out upon sand and upon solid ground. We can be the solid ground, and we can plug into here and find guidance that lets us know where to go. We can plug into nature and discover knowledge. But the most important thing, first and foremost, to plug into spirit. Plug into spirit. Plug into the divine intelligence, that presence that knows. And so in those moments where we sometimes feel confused, sometimes feels lost, many of us have been feeling lost and confused in the last 7 or 8 months. It's easy to happen, but there is a way to get out of it, and that is to get plugged in. We all need support sometime. We all need help sometime. Even our founder, Dr. Holmes, admits that he sometimes needed help as well. He says, as isolated as I appear to be, he said this in a spoken speaking one time in a talk he called The Invisible Guest. He says, as isolated as I appear to be, as confused as we most certainly all are at times, there is still the invariable guide. There is still within us the divine intelligence that knows all the answers. We have access to the solutions that are plaguing us right now. We're on the verge of a vaccine for COVID. We have the knowledge and the ability to understand what to do to work through our global warming. Polar ice caps repealing. People now can take a fishing boat from up into parts of the Alaska, up into parts of the Arctic and fish for places that they've never fished before. You can take a vessel from Quebec to Korea through the Arctic oceans now, which you never could do before. Things are changing quickly, but we have the knowledge, we have the ability, we have the tenacity, we have the word, we have access to the guidance and the knowledge. We simply need to get plugged in. And once we get plugged in, we know. And so it is. So join me now for the affirmation for today. Johanna so graciously gave us earlier. We're going to repeat it together right now. I am plugged into a power and a presence that knows. And through it all, I'm inspired to know what to do in creating a more just and perfect world for all. Okay. It's now time for our healing prayer moment. And we're going to go into the healing prayer, and I want you to just ground yourself in the present moment. I'm going to look over and see if there's any special things that you perhaps saw today that I might include in the prayer. Johanna?
No, not yet.
Okay. So join me now as we walk into the divine presence and simply know that knows is a part of us. It's centered at the very core of our being, and there is nothing for us simply to do more than to say yes. To say yes. Let me be a vehicle. Let me be a conduit. Let me be in the divine flow. I allow myself to be plugged in consciously to you right now, dear Spirit, and we then become as one. Co-collaborators, co-operators, co-creators in this thing called life. There is a power and a presence within me that knows exactly what to do, and I choose to use it right here and right now to bring more harmony and peace into the world, to bring more joy into people's lives, to bring more prosperity into people's pockets and into their hearts and into their minds. Because I'm not just talking about putting dollars and cents in people's pockets. I'm talking about putting ideas. I'm talking about putting uplifting moments. I'm talking about putting a freeing, liberating spirit that allows people to stand tall and to walk brightly into their future. Because the highest and the best is right here now, ready on its doorstep to be revealed into our lives as we accept it, as we say, yes, I surrender to my good, and I allow it to take place in my life right here and right now. So simply feeling that presence and that wave of energy moving out from my voice to envelop every person's life within the sound of my voice that's viewing this cast here, now, or later. I'm grateful for the blessing that is being bestowed upon your life here and now. I release this prayer to a perfect law that knows exactly what to do with it. Deliver your good to you in this moment, here and now. And so it is. We have more music from our dear friend Dennis Bryant. I'm going to bring him back on the screen for you. Dear Dennis Bryant, stand by.
Hi everybody, it's Dennis Bryan. Just wrote this new song called We Can Make It, all about knowing that we can get past that. Whatever happens, get past that rough spot. Here we go. We can make it. We can make it. Oh, we can still make it. We can make it. When the whole damn nation's falling down, and there's one who thinks he wears a crown, or we can make it. We can still make it. And when it feels like people taking sides and we lost the point, just stand united. We can make it. We can still make it. So carry on with all the power inside, and we can make it. When the headlines got you in a state and the balance leans so close to hate, we can make it. We can still make it. So carry on with all the love inside, and we can make it. We can make it. Woo! We can make it. Oh, we can still make it. And we can make it. When you're tired of isolation and you miss that soul connection, we can make it. We can still make it. People say you have no choice, but what you have is your own voice, and we can make it. We can still make it. So carry on with all the thoughts inside, and we can make it. Woo! We can make it. Yeah! We can make it. Oh, we can still make it. We can make it. So carry on with all the love inside, and carry on with all the thoughts inside, and carry on with all the power inside, and we can make it. Woo! We can still make it. We can make it. We can still make it. We can make it. Thanks.
The spirit of abundance flows through me. It lives inside my breath. As I inhale, the flow of abundance resides in every breath.
Did you say it? My words have prospering power. Oh, that feels good. Say it again. My words have prospering power. I even said the Catherine Ponder part. Okay, this is our pledge of abundance that we do each week before we do the donating, do our offering. So please say this and know that this one line down at the bottom provides every good thing for CSL Simi Valley now. I want to make that really clear that that's to be inclusive of every person in this viewing space and not particularly just the center itself, but you, your home, your life, your loved ones, your work. See, everything here is part of CSL Simi Valley right now. So here we go. Divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for CSL Simi Valley now. Divine love is victorious.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the spirit around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I surrender. I am one in the spirit around me. I surrender. I surrender. I trust in God. I trust in God.
In Science of Mind, in Center for Spiritual Living, we love to pray. We love to connect with the divine over and again. So right now we're connecting with the divine again, feeling that prosperity within us, knowing that the divine is prosperous. So let's take a deep breath and connect to that prosperity within you. And from that abundance within us, we give thanks. We give thanks for the offering. We bless it. We know that it is Spirit moving forward into its manifestation of itself. So it's nurturing itself. So we thank the giver. We thank the receiver. We bless the giver. We bless the receiver, knowing that Spirit in the form of money is blessing whoever it touches on its way. And for this, I'm just so grateful, and I let it be. And take a deep breath. And while you're at it, just keep your eyes closed, because we're moving straight into our gratitude. We're already in this abundance feeling. We're already in this prosperous place within ourselves. So from this rich place, we thank all who have supported this service. And first of all, thank yourself. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the Center for Spiritual Living Simi Valley community. Without you, it wouldn't be the same. And then we thank each and every person who is part of our community. If they're in Simi Valley or Thousand Oaks, Moore Park, or if they're in St. Paul. And then we thank the members and adjuncts of the Board of Trustees. We thank the office staff and volunteers, Reverend Stephen and Dennis Bryan, Dale Aarons, Team Michael Rambo, Sherry Dietz and the Soul Purpose Band. We thank Dean and Michelle for doing the service this coming Wednesday, Becoming an Appreciation Project. We thank Dr. Susan for doing Play and Learn, and Debbie Jarvis for Yoga with Debbie. We thank Floyd Lula. And then we bring it back to ourselves and back to that prosperous feeling. If you're ready, you can open your eyes. So the recap for today is the title of Reverend Stephen's talk was Get Plugged In. So spirit is the most powerful thing we can be plugged into, because we receive our resources from spirit. We plug into love. Excuse me. We plug into love. Love is the most powerful language, and even so, it will sometimes offend people. We plug into faith. Spirit is our rock. Love can be dangerous, but don't stop. We have been given a lot. We're called to give a lot back. Plug into listening. When you listen to the divine call, you plug into your intuition, your inner guide that is at your center. Let nature be your teacher to appreciate your individual self and to appreciate diversity. Let is a powerful word. Letting allows us to support harmony, and as Craig Schaefer said in the chat, we give the Creator a voice. We have available to us a power strip with 6 outlets. Love, the power of your words. Faith, which gives you tenacity. Spirit gives you a foundation. Listen gives you guidance. Nature gives you knowledge. Divine intelligence gives you all the help you need. Stay plugged in.
You surprised me there. Stay plugged in. I like it. It's a fun thing. The alternative is not that fun. Yeah. Wow. We have come to the close of another Virch service. We will be having Apri-Virch today, so I think Reverend Johanna is going to post the link into the window there. And so please do tune in. And if you want to find out more about the Thanksgiving services, come and let me talk to you about that as well. So we'll be there for about 30 minutes after service on Apri-Virch. So do that. Thanks for all the wonderful comments and for your inclusion in the service and just to hold us together. I know it's been a long time. A lot longer than any of us had planned, and so we are looking at how we can do something different. But it seems like the nation and the community is not cooperating enough for us to bring ourselves back together in person just yet. But we're working on some ideas. I know it's been talking about this, but it's a challenge. Every time we get close, they pull back. Just last week, they let people show up at my mother's daycare center, and 2 days later, they had to close down and stop having people come visit again. So we're in a flux place. But what we know is that if we plug in, we find the answers, we find the divine resources that let us move forward in life in a wonderful way. Let's close with the closing benediction. Then we'll have Jamie and Gary sing us out in the name of love. Here we go. I'm at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love.
Hey, Simi Valley, we're grateful that you're here. This is from Floyd Lula.
We love you. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. In the name of love, with a heart of grace, overflow in us and decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, may we always be seeking out the best till we all are free, living in a world we've been dreaming of, where we stand as one in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. 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 When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. 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 Oh yeah. In the name of love. 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 Peace and blessing. We love you.
See you next week.